My name is David Calvo. I'm the Director of Family and Community Engagement at CABE, the California Association for Bilingual Education. We are at the CABE Conference 2023, and I'm so excited to have run into Dr. Nicoline Ambe Franklin, one of our amazing speakers who brings really great crowds. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your communication with me.
All right, so you have an amazing session coming up.
Yes.
For our audience that isn't able to attend, can you share with us a little bit about those highlights?
Yes, so I was looking at the theme of CABE, which is the power of our stories. And I couldn't help but think about my own story as a young girl growing up in Africa. And all of the challenges that we young girls face growing up in Africa, having to take care of the family and travel miles on foot to fetch water for the family. I did all of that. And I was very busy, but I also had to find time to do my work, to advance myself. And through education, I was able to succeed in school, do well, and earn the scholarship to find me here in America right in front of you, David.
Wow.
And I've been a long, passionate advocate for education as a teacher and just someone who loves education. And education has given me so many opportunities. And that's why I'm a part of CABE, because it helps me also just not bring my story, but also bring my experiences as a teacher to CABE and be a part of the diversity that is CABE. So it's wonderful to be in this space. I feel at home here. I enjoy the diversity. I enjoy the learning processes, the sessions. So I'm really excited to be here at CABE today.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Have you been coming to CABE for a while?
Yes, every year I am at CABE, and actually sometimes I actually forget to fill the speaker proposals, and they would call me, Vanessa would call me, or Delma would call me and say, would you like to present? And that's why I'm here today. So I have been presenting at CABE for the last, I would say, 6 or 7 years, and I've seen a lot of transitions, but definitely one thing that has stood the test in CABE is the professionalism. Mm-hmm. Everyone is very dedicated, committed to our English language students. And so it's a wonderful, positive environment to be a part of, and I love being a part of CABE.
So how did you get involved in education? What's your story?
Education, in Africa, growing up as a girl child, besides work that you have to do manual labor, the only other thing that you can distract yourself with is education. So I was a good student. I loved to read. I read books, I read anything that I could lay my hands on. So that love of reading really took me places. And that's something that I inspire in my students and inspire in my children also, the value of a good education. Of course, we live in a society where you can be anything you want to be. You can have businesses without getting an education. You can do well without getting an education. But I think an education is a good foundation, not just for making money, but also for wisdom. To gain wisdom, to have knowledge. And so that's where my passion is with education, is just staying in a space where I can continue to learn and grow and thrive intellectually.
So as a leader in the education space, I'm sure you see challenges and problems all the time.
Yes.
What are some challenges that we need to work on?
Yes. I think some of the challenges that I see as a special education teacher is seeing students who are not living their full potential. And partly due to, I don't want to blame it 100% on the home, but what parents do at home to prepare their children for success in school is critical. So we have students who are in special needs classes, not because they don't have the intellectual capacity, but because they're not giving the resources at home to succeed. They're not being put to bed on time. There's no structure at home. There's absentee issues at school, tardiness, lateness. And so those things impact students' learning, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not capable of succeeding. So as a special needs teacher, my goal is to see my students progress, to see them grow. And it's not just in terms of the schoolwork that they can grow, but also their environment, how they can be supported. So I have a good relationship with parents. I communicate honestly with them about how they can support their kids at home so that they can thrive in school. So that's mainly one of the challenges that I see. From the point of view of a teacher, we do our best as teachers to present the standards, to teach students with the best teaching techniques and teaching skills and strategies. We have professional development meetings, and I feel that teachers really do their best to teach the content, but education and learning goes beyond the content. It's environmental as well, and emotional and mental, and that comes a lot from home as well.
You touched a little bit on the home and family and parents, and that's my role at CABE,
Yes.
getting family and community engagement. But sometimes this is a little bit difficult. What tips can you share with our audience about how to increase parent and family engagement?
That's a very good question. And my session tomorrow is on empowering yourself so that you can inspire your children. Because as parents, we're raising human beings. We're adding strong values on our children. And that's something that we have to mentally dedicate our lives to. It's a decision we made to have our children. So we have to be committed to them, because if we're not, some kids can survive well without parenting support, but a large number of kids in this current generation will find it really hard to thrive without the structured, guided, intentional support of their parents. So my thing would be, in terms of helping parents support their children, would be to think about your life in your 80s. You're in your 80s and you're in your 90s or you're in your 70s. Where are your children? Are they thriving? Are they still struggling? Do you have any regrets? So it's worth it. If you can think about the answer to those questions, you can bring yourself forward or backward, or move yourself back and think about how you can today invest all of what you have inside of you, your capacity, to do the best that you can for your children, so that even if they don't go the right way, you have no regrets as to what you have done as a parent. So it's more like an emotional plea to parents. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense.
Yes.
What about when parents have perhaps unavailability because they have so many commitments? As immigrants, I know my parents had to work very long hours, and they wanted the best for us, but sometimes parents aren't always available. How can we tackle that a little bit?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think that's where communication comes in. That's where it comes. That's where you have to bring in your child as a partner, as a team player. You create a team out of your family, and you develop a good connection and a good relationship with your children. You help them have a vision for the future so that they can want it for themselves. When children want it for themselves and you've successfully painted a vision and they are hungry for it, you're free. So that communication is really important, having the language. And I think that that's where a lot of parents struggle, is having the language to communicate with their kids about the value of a good education, the value of staying purposeful and disciplined, and staying centered in yourself. That's where I think a lot of parents struggle with that. Also, I think it has to do with their own backgrounds as well. Many of us have grown up in homes where we can't communicate. You're not allowed to speak in a group of elderly people. You're not allowed, you don't even have the language power to communicate. And if you're fortunate enough to raise empathetic kids who are supportive, that's a blessing. But otherwise, it would have to be communicating with them and sharing these things. I have to go to work. I would appreciate if you clean the dishes, and getting them involved, getting the family, a close-knit family is important. When you take off and the kids are running around, they're not being monitored, they're not doing valuable activities to move the family forward, then that becomes a problem.
Any tips for teachers on how to engage their parents?
Yes, I think for teachers, I would say empathy more, putting yourself in other people's shoes, because we have the content down. We know what we're teaching. We have professional development to help us be good teachers. So now is that emotional connection aspect, feeling empathy for students. And for me as a special needs teacher, I really have that empathy. And someone who's grown up in a different environment where I had not much. I had little growing up. I can feel the suffering of other people. So it has to do more with empathy, empathizing with your students, making sure that you're supporting them emotionally and mentally.
All right. So as we bring this interview to a close, I wonder if there's any ideas or final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience.
For the audience, I want to just share, if you're a parent, I want to encourage you to be available for your kids. It's still a wonderful thing, even in this world where everyone is so busy. There's technology everywhere that can babysit our kids. Those values of still being present with your children, have play times with them, have play dates with them. Those are wonderful moments that children will cherish forever. So for the attendees, if you're a parent, I encourage you to spend time with your children. If you're a teacher, I encourage you to have more empathy towards the pain and challenges of families, parents and children as well. And I think that each and every one of us, every single day, we should strive to be our best.
Nicoline, thank you so much for spending time with us and for sharing with us your insights and your wisdom. Yes. I hope you have a great conference.
Thank you, David. I appreciate you.
All right.